I think you come to the Bell game to win it. Wabash always fight.
Hello and welcome to the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. And coach, obviously a special week this week, getting ready for the 130th Monon Bell Classic, but leading into that last week, a tough, hard-fought road game at Wittenberg. Little Giants came away with a 31-28 victory, but it was a game that the team really kind of got off to a slow start until Xavier Tyler pulled off the 46-yard touchdown run, got us the first points of the half, just heading into halftime, and then really took over in the third quarter, forced a couple of turnovers, a huge block punt by Jerry McBee, who ended up earning the North Coast Athletic Conference Defensive Athlete of the Week award, and that really seemed to turn the tide as the Little Giants got the win, and we'll talk about the final drive that won the game, but what were your thoughts of the team's slow start and how they adjusted and really started to play much better in the second half?
Slow, horrible start. We missed 2 touchdown opportunities on the first 2 drives. Defense had a couple of penalties that allowed Witt to score. But as the game went on, we kind of fell into our groove a little bit, started to call plays faster on offense. Defense made big plays. And then it really evened out in the fourth quarter. For Witt, I think that was their Super Bowl chance to beat Wabash. It did not work out for them. And then we did a really nice job in the last minute driving the ball down and scoring.
Yeah, 2 minutes left in the game. Wittenberg had taken a lead. You came down on offense, and Brand Campbell just was tremendous. Completed all 5 passes that he attempted on that drive. The final one, a 16-yard hookup to TJ Alexander to give the Little Giants a 31-28 lead. And then on defense with Wittenberg out of timeouts, trying to drive the ball down. Again, it was the whole defensive unit, but Jerry McBee just became a real star. 2 sacks on that final drive to really lock the game away and secure the win for Wabash.
Jerry was really sick Friday and Saturday morning. So this week we've asked him to drink some bad milk or something before the game so he has the same performance.
Talk about Brand's performance to be able to, again, stepping in, we all know the story now, stepping in for Blake White, who was injured, second game of the season. He's continued to develop throughout the season. To be able to come in and lead the team on that final 2-minute drive to win the ball game, how important is that for him in his development as a player?
Well, super important. To win at Witt is a big deal. Well, we were down in the last minute or whatever the time was, and he did a great job. He was perfect throwing the ball, got the ball out of his hands, got it to our playmakers, did a super job.
How important is that win over Wittenberg? We talked about, sometimes you get a trap game before the Monon Bell game, but we knew this would be a game that there would be a lot of focus on because the Wabash-Wittenberg rivalry has become so large over the last several years. How important was it to be able to come up with a victory in that game with a last-second drive like that and with a big defensive stop heading into this week's game against DePauw?
So one, you do want to win the game before the Monon Bell, no doubt about it. But in particular, I'm proud because we did not play well, and we beat Wittenberg, and that's a sign of a pretty good football team.
Let's go ahead and move forward to what is always a huge week. There are 51 weeks to prepare for life in general, but this is a week that everything points toward one game, the Monon Bell game this year down at Greencastle. This is obviously a very talented DePauw team. They are unbelievably strong on offense, averaging 54 points a game. Their defense equally impressive, holding opponents to 10 points a game.
Okay, you're really depressing.
Is there any other bad news I can give you? But it's going to be a matchup of the 2 best teams in the conference. Obviously, the winner earns the North Coast Athletic Conference automatic bid to the NCAA football playoffs. These are the #1 and #2 offenses and defenses in the league. You've got the top running back in the league in Xavier Tyler, and we should mention he had 199 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns in the game against Wittenberg to go over 1,000 yards for the season, which I know was a big goal of his. You've got the incredible passing game of DePauw, but they also have a good running back, 3rd leading rusher in the conference. Are these teams in some areas a little bit of a mirror of each other?
You know, complete honesty, I think DePauw may be a little bit better than us, but as you know, in this game, all that goes out the window. We've won a conference championship and lost a bell game. DePauw's won the conference championship and lost a bell game. It's a cliche, but it's true and it's proven. Anything can happen in this game.
Well, I think back probably most recently in 2010 when DePauw came in undefeated, had won the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference title, already knew they were getting ready to make, I believe, their first playoff appearance in program history, and they came to what was then Byron P. Hollett Little Giant Stadium, and Wabash hung a 0 on the scoreboard on their side with a 42-0 win. And it was a game that just on paper, everyone said Wabash has no chance in this ball game, and Wabash came out and played great. What does this team take from last year's game? I mean, just an unbelievably hard-fought game that ended up going into double overtime. Both teams had an opportunity to win it in overtime. A blocked field goal, a fumble, sent it to the second overtime, and then we got a field goal. And then it was the late touchdown run in the second overtime that gave DePauw the victory. How does that propel this team to get ready for this year's game?
Well, I think it's Wabash versus DePauw, and you're going to get the best out of both regardless of what happened the year before. But certainly that was a painful loss. Our kids have rebounded from it. I think we've exceeded expectations. If people said 6 months ago, will Wabash be 8-1 going into the bell game, the answer would be probably not. Here we are.
Let's take this to a personal level. You'd already announced that you are retiring as the head football coach at Wabash College. And I'll put a caveat on that after I ask you this question. We're going to talk about what you're going to do next, because you're retiring from football, but you're not leaving Wabash College, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is your last game as the head football coach of Wabash in a Monon Bell game. What memories do you take away from previous Bell games, and what does coaching in this game mean to you?
Well, it's an honor. It's really an honor. And when I talk to Eric Rayburn, or when I talk to Bill Lynch from DePauw, other men who've coached in it, it is just an absolute honor to get to lead young men into this thing. And obviously there have been incredible memories, both high and low. It's part of the position, and it makes the experience all the better.
Now, as I mentioned, this is not a farewell to Wabash College. You are moving into a new role with the college. Tell us about what you'll be doing after football season is over.
Sure. A few years ago, Scott Feller, our president, sat down with me and said, hey, coach as long as you want, but when you're done, we really have a unique opportunity for you in development. Clearly, I have deep regard for the school. I love the place, and I really love our passionate alums. These are giants in industry and business and law and medicine, and I look forward to interacting with them for the rest of my career.
Well, it's outstanding to hear that we're still going to be colleagues here on campus, and I know the Wabash community as a whole is grateful to hear that you're still going to be part of the Wabash community and still be greatly involved in the success of this college. Coach, final question for you. What is going to be the biggest key for Wabash on Saturday to be able to pull out a win and bring the bell back home?
Sure, we need to play turnover free, and then we're going to have to create a couple turnovers. I think that's the game right there.
Kickoff is, of course, at 1:07 p.m. at Blackstock Stadium. The game is sold out. Tickets have been sold out for a few weeks now. So the only way to watch the game if you don't have a ticket is on the ISC Sports Network. You can also go to the Wabash College Video Network as you normally would to watch Wabash College home games. The DePauw Video Network will also have the game streaming live. We invite you to watch what truly should be a tremendous football game. Again, pregame show begins at 1 o'clock. It'll be Greg Rakestraw, Steve Hoffman, Brad Wakamerka, and Kelsey Casper on the call and on the sidelines for the game on Saturday. Coach, as always, best of luck, and nothing more to say than ding, ding. Let's bring home the Monon Bell.
Thank you.
You've been watching the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. And one last thing, a reminder, we will have a Don Morel Show next week, because if Wabash wins, the Little Giants will be in the NCAA playoffs. If Wabash is on the lower end of the scoreboard on Saturday, the Little Giants will play in the Open Doors Bowl. That will be at the Benson Football Hall of Fame Stadium, NFL Football Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. There'll be more details on the website should Wabash make it into that game. But Wabash will have another game after Saturday, so we will talk to you next week. But for Don Morel, for Ethan Cook, our camera operator, for Adam Phipps, our producer, I'm Brent Harris. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next week.
I think you come to the Belgian to win it. Wabash always fight.